Oh, that's not good. We have a rough running engine and a check engine light. All right, so we got our scan tool hooked up and we're scanning the ECM. We found that we have an engine misfire, a PO300. We're gonna go check out the engine, we're gonna check out the coil packs and the spark plugs and see what's going on. All right, before we get into our visual inspection, let's just go over a few quick things. Here we have a coil pack. This is like a little transformer. It's gonna take the battery voltage, which is low voltage, and it's gonna turn it into high voltage to ignite our spark plug. When the energy goes into the spark plug, it's gonna throw a spark across this gap, which is gonna ignite the fuel mixture inside of the cylinder and fire the motor. So our spark plug is gonna go and sit in our head. This will get screwed in, and then our coil pack is gonna get dropped on top. That's how that connection will be made. And then we're gonna secure the coil to the valve cover. All right, let's get into our visual inspection. We're gonna pop this cover off, take the connector off our coil pack, and we're gonna take the bolts out of the coil packs, and we're gonna take a look at them. Coil packs come in many different shapes and sizes. Some may come as just singular, like we showed. Others, like this car, are all gonna be tied into one. All right, so we're gonna remove our coil pack here, and we're gonna pull it out. Looking at the coil, we see it's soaked in oil. There should be no oil in the spark plug tube. These should be completely dry. Excessive oil in the spark plug tube will lead to a misfire. This is because the connection between the coil and the spark plug is gonna be disrupted by the oil. Now we could just replace our spark plug and coil, but that's not gonna fix our problem. That's just a symptom of the problem. Our true problem is gonna be our valve cover. Our valve cover is leaking into the spark plug tube, fouling these parts with oil. Now we know our problem, it's gonna be our valve cover gasket. Let's go over a few symptoms of this. We can have oil leaking down the front of the head. We can have an overall oily engine. It can be dripping on the exhaust, causing a burning smell. In severe cases, it will leak past the spark plug in the tube, causing white smoke to come out of the tailpipe. With that being said, we're gonna replace our valve cover gasket with one from 1aauto.com. We're also gonna replace our spark plugs because they were covered in oil, and we're also gonna do the coil pack because it was submerged. Let's get started. If there's any oil in the spark plug tube, be sure to use a fluid extractor to remove all of the oil before removing the spark plug. We'll do this so that the oil doesn't fall into the cylinder when we remove the spark plug. Let's remove all the hoses from the valve cover. Remove the spark plugs. Loosen and remove all the valve cover bolts. Gently pry up and remove the valve cover. Lift the valve cover up and out. The spark plug tube that had most of the oil in it was this cylinder right here. On either side of this gasket right here and here, you can see that it's pretty flattened out, and it's also hard. This is supposed to be a rubber gasket, so it's supposed to be nice and pliable. When it gets hard like this, it's not actually sealing anymore, it's actually just letting oil in. Clean the mating surface. Install the new gasket into the valve cover and follow the steps backwards for reinstallation. When installing, be sure to put thread locker on any bolts that are open to coolant or oil passages. Check for torque specs and tightening order for the valve cover. Some may require a certain pattern for proper installation. Install the coil pack, push straight down, you'll feel it click into place. Double check all of the hoses and the connections. We have all our new parts installed. We have just a few more important steps before this job is done. Number one is going to be to clean all the old oil from the valve cover, so in the future we're not chasing old leaks. Number two is going to be to hop in the car and clear all of the codes. And finally, we're going to start the vehicle and see how it runs. Our engine is repaired, it's running nice and smooth. That's going to wrap up this video, and we'll see you in the next one.